Good evening and Merry Christmas to anybody who actually celebrates. The Dallas Mavericks just defeated. No, they did not defeat anyone. They lost to the Golden State Warriors 126 to 116. I'm Kirk Henderson. Tonight I am joined by Mavs Moneyball's contributors Jack and David. Guys, thanks for taking time out of your evening to join me. Josh had something come up last minute. So what's going on, guys? David, you first.
I mean, my Christmas has been pretty good outside of a pretty disappointing loss tonight. But yeah, I mean, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
My children woke up at 5:15.
Mm.
My youngest one in a pack and play, which is basically like a portable baby jail, and he's screaming, "Let me out! Let me out!" And that's the day's just kind of gone from there. A good day though. Jack, how about you?
Yeah, my day's been good. Skied a good amount this morning and afternoon. And
Skiing
watched
without
this.
injury. Skiing
Oh,
without
I did
injury
in
is
fact injure myself though. So yeah,
no,
hurt my shoulder, but hey, we're good. We're
but
day to day. We're day to
you
day.
kept playing. You
Oh
returned
yeah,
to the
yeah, we
game.
were good. We were good. But
Okay, so here's the deal, guys. The Mavericks lost, and I watched this game, and I was surrounded by family, most of which don't watch basketball. And this was not a fun game to have to explain to people who who don't watch basketball, like why I spend my time doing this. What would you let's start with Jack first. Well, Jack, what would you tell a friend or family member who asked why you watched this game?
Cooper Flag. There you go. There's the answer.
Okay.
2 words. That's it.
Okay.
The rest of these
Good answer.
guys gonna be playing in Guangdong soon. But Coop's great.
So
That's
Yeah,
it. Dude, if Coop got injured, I'm not watching a game. Straight up. Not watching the game if he's not playing. Because this team is
what happened
diabolical to
in this
watch.
one? I had the game. The game was on low volume, and I've not been able to check Mavs Twitter very much. I see that Anthony Davis leaves the game. At what point in the game does that happen, and how does that tangibly impact the game, David?
I think that happened late-ish in the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken, maybe
It was
midway
mid second
through.
quarter. Was it mid? It was
Yeah, it
in the
was
second
like
quarter. I
middle.
don't know exactly.
Yeah, it was second quarter, middle or late. I don't remember exactly when, but yeah, it was also on a play where he was running down the floor and somebody threw the ball to him and he just walked off the court and the ball went out of bounds. So not only did he get hurt, but he gave up a fucking layup. I'm sorry for cursing, but he gave
No,
up a
please curse.
layup um, because he got hurt. So in terms of affecting the game, I mean, listen, you know how I feel about Anthony Davis. The
Well,
Mavs
tell
defense is
me,
already kind of.
the people need to know how you feel about Anthony Davis. They don't hear you as
I
much anymore.
I am of the opinion that Anthony Davis does not contribute to winning. Like he's a good player, but like here's something for a guy that is supposed to be a Hall of Fame shot blocker. I don't really see him block too many shots, and maybe that's because guys are deterred from the rim or whatever. But I mean, so I was at the Denver game a couple nights ago, and obviously I watched this game. When guys drive in on Anthony Davis, it doesn't seem like they miss. Like if you put your body into him, he's not the kind of guy who can take these bumps anymore, and you're able to get up a shot over his arm because you can push off of him. So to answer your question in terms of how this affected the game, the Mavs defense is already a layup line with or without him. It got really bad when they
Yeah, it
didn't
was
have.
rough. It's
I mean,
rough.
the Warriors.
Especially against
My
the Warriors
offense,
offense.
yeah,
Yeah.
my offense
Go
in
ahead.
high
Go ahead.
school
Sorry.
revolved around backdoor cuts and layups because we were a bunch of largely unathletic, shorter guys, and that's exactly what the Warriors looked like tonight. It looked like a bunch of smaller dudes getting layup after layup because the Mavs were just either asleep or like tired or I don't know. It was bad.
This is really something to watch. So the game at halftime was something to the effect of a million. So the 71 to 58. And it's not like the Warriors defense was particularly adept either. But Jack was,
No.
while we were waiting for you, David, Jack was sort of looking through the numbers, just the raw data, and reading out some of what happened in this game. And like, Jack, why don't you just kind of go through some of what you thought was like both horrifying or interesting about this game from from a stats point of view.
Okay, so I'll just do the teams here. The Mavs shot 55% from the field, which is obviously really, really good. They seemingly do it like every other night. They shot 14 threes, which I mean, I don't. You laugh. It makes
That's
you
attempted?
laugh because 14 attempted threes. Got 4 of 14. It's unbelievable in 2025 in this era of basketball. Like watching the Spurs or the Thunder in the last game versus the Mavs, how they play offense. The Warriors shot just 44% from the field, so you played good defense on them, but they shot 53s. And they shot worse from three. They shot 28%, but they made 14 because they shot 50 of them. And then
They're plus 30 in
Yeah.
threes. That's
And
incredible.
then the final one is they took 10 more shots because you were running Cooper Flag at the 5 in the fourth quarter and could not grab a rebound. I guess Daniel Gafford couldn't grab a rebound either, but is anyone surprised with that?
No.
And there's already comments in the chat about that. We have one guy saying gaff ass playing is so cringe. How is Kid letting him get minutes? And it seemed, AD has been the de facto 5, whether he wants to be or not. So he goes down.
He doesn't want to be.
And he goes down, and it seems that Kid was just like, well, I'm not gonna let Dwight Powell play tonight. No Christmas game for Dwight Powell. And I don't know anybody that really loves Dwight Powell, but there's at least
better than this.
There's a difference in energy between him and Gafford. I mean, Gafford plays 15 minutes. He gets 5 total boards. I mean, at least 5 of them are defensive. Usually gets killed on the defensive boards. This was such an ugly game because it's like you come out of this Nuggets game, and the Nuggets game was really cathartic and fun because the Mavericks were missing 3 rotation guys, PJ Washington, Klay Thompson, and Max Christie. And they pull ahead of the Nuggets. Granted, the Nuggets are also missing 3 or 4 rotation guys, but the Nuggets have like one of the 3 best players in the multiverse. So you come off that game and expect some better energy. And I was watching this, and I'm curious to see if you guys caught this, because sometimes I read too much into things when I'm only watching things half-assed. Did Jimmy Butler punk them in like the first half a couple of times with like foul baiting shit? They seem to be the Mavericks never really seem to be in this game despite the score feeling close. I just like felt sort of kind of hopeless the whole game.
No, I agree. I was going to actually bring that up because they kept flashing this stupid graphic on the screen that was like, Warriors are 1 of 20 from 3 this half, and you're like, okay, well the Mavs should be winning then, right? And then you look at the score and you're like, no, the Mavs are down by 10 points. How is this even possible? The Warriors, like, this is a perfect example of like why I can see the Warriors kind of buying into this whatever they have, even though they're super old, because like they do have some sort of edge on teams like the Mavericks that not a lot of teams have. When you have Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, I mean Steph Curry to an extent, like they just like do things like veteran plays. I mean, okay, I mean I'm not going to call foul baiting a veteran play, but you know what I'm saying. Like they just make plays that they can make, when they like on a Christmas game. Over the course of the regular season, the Warriors, obviously, they're going to lose games because they're going to, sit out. But when they have all their guys and they're playing as hard as they can on a national stage, like they can basically get 5 to 8 points just because they've played longer than the other team.
Sure. What did you see, Jack?
I think the AD injury just kind of because it was a close game until he got hurt. Like they had a bad first quarter, but then they were getting back into it. But AD getting hurt, you could just tell the whole team is just like, all right. I mean, it's over at this point. I just think this Warriors team's a bad matchup for the Mavs, especially without AD, because I just felt defensively there was just a lack of focus in general. And it was everybody. I thought Flag probably had his worst defensive game of the season. And I'm not criticizing him too badly. I mean, he's 19, but he really, really struggled with all of the motion and movement that the Warriors run, and really the whole team did. But yeah, I mean, it felt like the refs kind of got him out of this game, which that's a Luka era tidbit right there, letting the refs completely ruin your game. But I mean, yeah, the foul baiting, and then they missed free throws, and then I just thought on the glass was so frustrating. And I get you're small, but I mean, the Warriors are tiny as well, and it's just Gary Payton and Will Richard just flying in, and you have like Cooper and PJ who are 6'9", both of them just kind of standing. So yeah, the energy was pretty terrible, but I think it kind of just stems from AD getting hurt, and then they were constantly behind, having to fight back, and then it just felt like the dam broke
And if you're
midway
not
through
going
the
to
fourth
hit
quarter.
threes, and if you're
Yeah,
not
and
going
it's
to take
just
and hit
so
threes,
hard.
comebacks are so exhausting.
Yeah, because they had to fight for every single bucket, and it's just the Warriors were getting layups or open threes, and the Warriors, I mean, couldn't hit a three in the second half, but still, just being able to get open looks compared to what the Mavs have to do is
I
pretty
had to take
drastic.
I had to take my little one upstairs, and it was 99 to 104, and it seemed like that was as close as the Mavericks got before the Warriors just kind of casually closed the door on them. I think the point about energy and not being able to come back in like the ways that, let's just say, Denver was last night is just one of those understated and discussed elements about the Mavericks, because they constantly seem to be playing reasonably close games. But I sort of describe them to one friend as like they kind of remind me of like a worse Tom Thibodeau team, because they play so hard all the time, which is to their credit. But that also means they don't have anywhere else to go in terms of finding another gear, because there are no gears left. Like they use all their energy. And it's a frustrating thing.
Yeah, and also when you use all of your energy every night, over the course of an 82 game season, you've seen some of these games where their legs look dead in the fourth quarter. And I remember there was one play tonight. I don't remember exactly when it was, but it was the last couple of minutes where Cooper flag, somebody got a steal and he got back on defense. And
Yeah,
I mean,
and no
there
one
was
else was even
no one in the
close.
frame. Yeah. There was no other. He defended the layup. Like whoever it was missed the layup. And then the Warriors guy who ran back got the rebound and made it. And the next guy that was on the Mavs that was close was like Max Christie 30 seconds later was like walking down the court. And I'm like, you got to match. If your 19-year-old rookie's the guy that's setting that tone in the fourth quarter, it's kind of,
not to go Kirk editorial mid podcast, but if anybody is able to find a clip of that, I think you could write 400 words on why that sucks and why that is sort of emblematic of where we are with this Maverick season, because you get these people that are checking in, tuning in, and saying, "Hey, can the Mavericks make a run for the 8 seed?" We got our fearless leader and Josh Bowe, who thinks they're just sort of going to fall up into the 8 seed, and there's a good argument for it. But then you watch shit like this, and you're like, "There's just no." To me, and I think to Jack too. I actually don't know where you stand, David. I know me and Jack are kind of like, absolutely fucking not. Like, this team is just going to die at some point. And like that play sort of strikes me as emblematic of that concept.
Yeah, I just think like there are a couple different types of mediocre teams in the NBA. There are mediocre teams who have very mediocre talent, who are going to beat the bad teams most nights, but lose to all the good teams. And then there are mediocre teams like the Mavericks who have a ton of talent, who have a top 25 player, who have, I mean, I don't know what AD is. Like, he's a player, I guess, but you do have a ton of talent.
Right.
And any given night, if a team walks in like the Nuggets or the Rockets a couple weeks ago and just, who cares? They're going to win. But when they play the good teams that really put forth the requisite effort and match that intensity, you see games like this. So they'll win games, but I think a lot of people think this team will be good after they trade AD. If they trade AD, I think this team's going to be awful without AD, because they, as frustrating as he is, they so desperately need him on both
AD's
ends.
are pretty high. AD and Cooper together are a pretty fantastic floor.
Yeah, they can win you a lot of games.
It's
but without AD,
it's like, oh no.
Yeah, when it's just Cooper out there just by himself, I mean, he's great, but I don't know what player could carry this roster to an 8 seed without AD.
David, I'm going to let you think about where you sit on this, and I'm going to cut us to a quick break. So think for just a second here. All right, guys, if you want to support the Mavs Moneyball show, or Mavs Moneyball, Pod Maverick, which is a wing of Mavs Moneyball, here's the three ways you can support the show is listen to the podcast, tell your friends about the podcast. The second way is to actually listen to the ads, because that's how we make whatever beer money comes out of this thing. And the third way is there's literally a link in the show notes if you're all interested. So I'm going to cut. We're going to add some audio ads into this. And then when we come back, I want to hear what David thinks about this team in terms of their chances. Because I think David might be a little more positive than Jack and I, but I really can't remember. We'll be right back. All right, thanks for waiting. If you haven't subscribed to the show, please consider doing so. So before the break, Jack and I both sort of lamented our position of the Mavericks are very close to being real stinky, and we didn't give David a chance to comment. So David, what are your thoughts on that particular position?
I've been kind of back and forth. Before the year, kind of like probably over the summer, I thought this team would win 30 games. And then I kind of went to I think my official take in the round table on the site was like 55 wins, just because the basketball gods would spite us and make this team good because of Nico. That is clearly not the case. Even the basketball gods could not overcome what Nico did. So
that's a headline right there.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm back on like. I wrote about something before the season about this stretch that they have. I think it's coming up. It's either mid-January or early January to like after the All-Star break. They have this like gauntlet of a schedule. And obviously it's hard to predict these games because of injuries, and you never know who's going to play on any given night, and they beat the Nuggets the other night, so you never know. But like their schedule is going to get really, really difficult. Basically in the most tiring part of the year, when like before the All-Star break is really hard because you've been playing basketball for a couple months without any break. And then once after the All-Star break, you see all the teams, all the changes are made where everyone, gets a little rest and then they start playing a little harder. But yeah, they have this stretch coming up where I could see them losing a lot of games. So I agree with y'all. I do not think this team is going to stumble into the 8th seed. They're going to have to play really well for that to happen, especially because I think Portland's a good team. They've had some injuries too. Are the Jazz ahead of us, or are they behind us?
The Jazz will blow it up in like a month. So
the Jazz. If the Jazz are ahead of us, then maybe. But I think they might be behind us or tied. So, but yeah, no, I don't think that they're going to stumble into the 8th seed. Like there's so many variables that would negatively impact the way this team plays, and there's just not enough things. Like they've basically been healthy for the last week, and we've seen what they are, and they can only add things that would detract from that.
So the Mavericks are 32 and 20. I'm sorry, they played 32 games. They're 12 and 20, and they started off the first 20 games of the year. They were 5 and 15. So they've made up significant ground. They were 15 games under 500. They are now 8 games under 500. Unfortunately, it just becomes such an uphill slog to actually get to 500. Like you have to go through these win streaks, and the Mavericks had one, but you really have to have multiple while also dealing with injuries. And this AD injury couldn't really come at a worse time. They have to finish out the year. They have several national TV games yet to go. They play the Kings on Saturday. That's kind of if they lose to the Kings, then we'll just be kind of in a different, like completely different headspace. Then they finish out the calendar year with Portland and start off the new year 2026 against Philadelphia and Houston. So it's like they have a chance to eat into this a little bit. But I'm looking at the stretch that you're talking about, and it's definitely pretty brutal. Like what did they actually disclose on the broadcast about AD's injury? Because I've read literally nothing. I just kind of came in here blind.
So
I think it was like groin spasms, right?
Yeah, they said it was like out of an abundance of caution. So he'll probably be fine. It sounded like we're kind of already losing this game. We're not going to risk it.
You know what he looked like? He looked like a dude playing a flag football or like a two-hand touch football game with his buddies, and he just pulls up because he's like, fuck this. I am not going to catch that.
That's exactly what it looked like.
Well, David, you are in the pit of despair where we've lost your lighting source, and now
I don't know what happened.
We have the brief outline of your head. This
is what Dallas Mavericks basketball does.
That's right.
Even the biggest of fans.
That's
just
right.
Sends you to the pits of hell.
Josh would really, really approve of this because he tends to turn his light off when the Mavs have bad games, and he just records in the dark. Yeah, I just, I do want to give the people something. Were there any like actual positive takeaways from this one, or was this just kind of a slow grind out for you? David, why don't you go first?
I mean, obviously the big one is Cooper Flag. He's just so good. He's so good. And even more than he's so good on big stages. Like he just played back-to-back really good national TV games. Um, Max Christie was good in this game. I thought Max Christie was very good. Defensively, there's not much to say. Like it's kind of a thing. It seems like with the Mavs where if the first quarter isn't good, then they're just not gonna be able to lock in for the rest of the game, and that's kind of what happened tonight. But other than that, I mean, Max Christie and Cooper Flag were the two big ones for me, at least. I don't know, Jack. Is there anything else that you found positively from the Mavs tonight? Because I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it was pretty much only Cooper, and I'll just talk about Cooper because I wasn't on for the last one, so I didn't get to talk about it. But I do think Cooper is pretty easily a top 25 player to me already. He should be an all-star. He won't because the West is so stacked. But like you look at the East, look who might become an all-star in the East. Like we're talking Norman Powell getting in the all-star game. Joke of a conference. But yeah, I mean Cooper's awesome. 9 out of his last 12 games, he scored 20 points. He's just so efficient, so good getting downhill. Can't make his free throws, but no one's perfect.
Well, and what do we think about his rebounding? Because maybe I'm just sort of hooked on the fact that Luka could grab 12 boards in any game where he really decided to. Cooper's rebounding leaves me wanting. Why do you think that's because he's covering more ground defensively and is out of position? Like, why does a guy who's playing this much, he's not getting as many boards as I feel like somebody of his size should be? Is that a ridiculous criticism?
Well,
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think number one, he does kind of. I don't want to say he like doesn't box out people, but he does kind of float around sometimes defensively, where he'll just kind of be like on the weak side, but not really in position. And he's just skinny. He just gets moved around a lot. Okay. When he gets stronger, he'll be a better rebounder. But he's also like Luka would always attempt to get as low as possible and not be guarding anybody. So he'd try to get in position for a rebound. And Hoover's just not that kind of guy because he's a little bit more around the ball. But I think a lot of it's just he's just got to eat a couple sandwiches and get in a weight room, and then he'll be able to rebound a little bit better. But yeah, I don't know.
That's a funny comment. Do you see this? We got two comments. Jared Sullivan says, first, Coop helps too much on D to be an elite rebounder. And I think that's an interesting take. I would need to watch a lot more possessions I get the concept. I just haven't seen it. And then this is a good comment from SL Musica 214. He says his butt isn't as big as Luka's. It's not fair to compare them. I agree with you. That's why
he's light in the trousers. He's light in the trousers right now.
I think I disagree actually. I agree with Jared's comment a little bit about he's their help side defender. Like as much as Anthony Davis claims to be that guy, Cooper is that guy. And like there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of like there's a lot of times where Flag just is ball watching on the backside and they skip it to his guy in the corner and that guy shoots a three. And obviously that's not going to result in a Flag rebound very often. And then the other thing is like, I mean, if you want to talk about numbers, Luka versus Cooper, like why Luka gets so many rebounds, frankly, a lot of the times guys let Luka grab the rebound. If there's a free rebound, they will let Luka grab it. So that at least contributes to 2 to 3 a game. But I think Cooper, yeah, I mean, I think Cooper's strong enough to get the rebounds now. Like he's moving. He gets whatever he wants downhill on offense. I don't think it's a strength thing. I think it's a lot to do with the help side stuff and the fact that he gets a little lost on defense.
Yeah, like in this game, he kind of feels like he just kind of sits in the help side and can sometimes just kind of only stand there. But yeah, I'm not really worried about it long term.
It's a minor
a
criticism.
9 to 10 rebound guy.
It's such a minor criticism that stands out to me in a game like so these 3 out of their last 4 games they've gotten out rebounded, and he just plays a part. And so it's one thing that I feel like sometimes I gush so much over him. And I did this a lot with Luka too, where I didn't ever really want to talk criticism. So I'm just sort of trying to be more cognizant of that. I think this is enough for this game, and we got light stream attendance compared to what we will have on a regular weeknight. If you're listening to this, you're a true Mavs fan and a fan of the show. We appreciate your hanging out. You should head over to Mavs Moneyball. There is a lot. I got 3 really good articles today that came in, and then there's the game coverage. Our man Joe's on recap tonight. I feel bad for Joe. He signed up for 4 in a row because I think he just didn't have anything to do. And I used to be that guy, and I just can't do it anymore. I love writing the game recaps. It's like my thing. Jack, were you writing kind of a variation of a trade tiers piece you want to have out before the new year?
I think that's Other Jack.
Other Jack. See,
I'm doing grades tonight, but that's
yeah. No, you were doing the grades. Somebody has a tier, a trade tiers piece sitting in there that I wanted to. That I'm like, oh, it's a good idea because it's the Mavericks I think do move somebody, which will make this team, I don't say more interesting to talk about, but if they make some moves, then we have just variations and stuff to talk about. But all right, you guys get back to your evening. Thank you so much for taking your time. I'm not going to do a second post game show. There's nobody in here, and I'm not going to waste people's time. Josh and me should be back on Saturday, even if not me, definitely Josh. I will be home in Texas on Monday, so that late Portland game will be probably the game I'm absolutely sure to be here for. Gentlemen, thanks so much for your time. Everybody who's on the stream and will listen on your shows, hope you had a good holiday, and we will talk to you guys soon. Go Mavs.